How's it going, guys? It's Rickster back again with Cure. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did the intro to my remake of Syndicate by Skrillex. So to start off, this intro is based on a sample, which I find quite interesting. It's from the original Syndicate game, and let me see here. It's called Danger, and if I just drag it in, as soon as I play it, you can kind of hear... which I find kind of cool, because in the Nero and the Flux Pavilion versions that they did for the game back in the day, they replayed this melody, while Skrillex just straight up like sampled it, either using just the original track, or maybe he got stems from them. So the one thing that I do think is really cool about this intro is the way that he went about, at least that I went about trying to get this to fit right, because this is at like 91 BPM originally. If I speed this up, using like Complex Pro or whatever, you get that kind of fuzzy high end that using like time stretching will do. So I had to make some kind of cool decisions in the actual playlist, switching between different modes to try to get as clean of a sound as possible. But before I get into all that, the two other elements in the intro, well, I guess I can show the drums. Quite simple. It's just a kick and snare I made, along with the percussion, which is just mainly some chopped Vengeance hats, you know? But, so if I get into this now, the other two main synth elements in the intro is just this little sub bass that I just made with Operator. I just stacked two sine waves and distorted them together and EQ'd out the high end. And then there's this string stab, which originally came from just the factory Contact library. I just played a stack of octaves, but I felt the attack on it wasn't good enough compared to the original song. So I resampled it to audio, and I just set it in texture mode. And I basically double timed it to make it a lot more staccato, like the original song. And then just some chorus, OTT, little bit of a gating from reduce ambience, and then just some well, actually it's a modified reduce ambience. I'm basically gating, well, expanding the high band and the low band while upwards compressing the mids. And then there's just, I'm rolling off the low end, and then just some reverb. Sound like this. So now to actually get into the sample. There is some pretty severe processing on it, because the original Skrillex song is quite distorted, like the way the sample is sitting in the mix. So I'm kind of processing it like crazy. But essentially what is happening in the first part is I'm switching between beats mode on 16th notes to 8th notes, which you can hear kind of exaggerated when I turn this envelope down. You know, same thing here. And then for just processing wise, I'm mainly just kind of shooting for, because this is a very noisy version I downloaded off of YouTube that I ended up chopping. So there's a lot of noise. So a lot of this is kind of trying to distort it without just blowing up the noise like crazy. So I'm making a lot of weird, like overcomplicated decisions in this. If you want like the effects rack, just let me know. We can I can send it to you in the Discord, in our Discord server, you know. I think this is the post effects don't really matter in the like learning from this. I think what's more important is kind of, because I mean maybe I just don't know game and this is much more common, but this was this is something I do a lot more in my regular music now, is like when I'll chop like loops or whatever, or like I make my own loop, I'll go and I'll actively change how it's being stretched and warped in the playlist, like really radically, which can make some really cool kind of effects. You can totally revitalize a really kind of dead loop with that. And then, yeah, so and then after I've kind of cleaned the signal up and boosted it, then I hit it with some amp. It kind of crisps it up really nicely. And then there's just some wider, the free plugin, final bit of EQ, and then I realized I overdid the stereo, so I collapsed it back to mono a little bit. you know? And then in the second part, I'm switching between... both of these are on complex now, because I feel like it isn't kind of destroying the high end as much here. But in this second part, I'm actually double timing this little part. I took this right here, and I did this. Because if you listen to the original Skrillex song, those tails hang on for a lot longer than they do in the original song. You know? So I'm kind of switching between that, and the main processing I'm doing is I'm just cutting the low end, OTT, some overdrive to kind of boost up certain harmonics, and then some chorus again. And I'm also doing, at the beginning of this chain, is quite a weird little effect setup I have going on. I wouldn't think about it too much. A lot of this I made without even really thinking about it. But essentially I have a low band. Like I have a one parallel signal where I'm basically compressing the high end, but also expand, like, oh my God. This looks insane. This looks like I'm really overdoing it. And then just some like pretty heavy compression and the same reduce ambience preset on the high end to kind of bring it way more forward. And that's how Skrillex went about making the intro to his song Syndicate. So yeah, if you learned something in this video, drop a comment, drop a like. See you guys next time.